Welcome to The Lifeline, a production of Simply BJE Incorporated. The goal of this podcast is to build, to inspire, and to empower our audience through conversations on business, leadership, and mental health. We invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and at simplybje.com/The Lifeline. Now, let's tune in for today's episode.
Today's Power Chat is about the power of no. About a year or so ago, I was in a time of devotion and I was reading a passage of scripture out of Genesis chapter 11 and Genesis chapter 12, which details the story of a man by the name of Abram who was asked to leave his country and his kinfolk to answer a call from God. And as many of you know, Abram eventually became Abraham and was a man of tremendous success, prosperity, and great blessing. And as I began to read the story, I realized that despite Abram's success, his prosperity, the blessings, all the great things that we know about Abram, that those things didn't come without delay, distraction, and many detours. And as I continued to look at the story, I realized that those delays, those detours, those distractions, they didn't come because Abram said yes. They came because of his inability to say no to some things that were contrary to the call. And I was convicted. I began to look at my life and I started to examine the lives of others that I had witnessed. And I saw that oftentimes we don't reach the levels of success. We don't see that next level. We don't see the growth that we desire, not because we didn't say yes to the thing. It's because of our inability to say no. And that is the power chat today. What have you said yes to in this season? Whether it's business, whether it's ministry, whether it's to a relationship, the question you got to ask yourself, is your no going to be just as strong as your yes? Because as you begin to look at relationships, the success of that relationship is not so much determined by the thing we say yes to, but is determined and defined by the strength of our ability to say no to those things that are contrary. When you look at any relationship, the health of that relationship is determined by the boundaries that are set. Yeah, there's that word, boundaries, right? Sometimes they're difficult because we don't like disappointing people. And that's what you've got to realize when you begin to set boundaries, when you begin to say no to things, oftentimes it will be things that you said yes to in the past. You got to realize it's not going to rub everybody the right way. And so as we are admonished that whenever you build something, whenever you set out to do something, to count up the cost, have you factored in that cost of what it may cost you to say no to some things? And so that is the power chat today. But I want to encourage you that the same power that has been given to you, right, to say yes, to accomplish that thing, that same power is going to be necessary and needed for you to say no. I mean, think of one. When you think about focus is determined not about what we say yes to, it's about what we say no to. And in this time in your life, in this season, where you're trying to get to, it's going to require all of your focus. It's going to require all your energy. It's going to require all of your time, the time necessary to get that done. And so you're going to have to be able to say no to some things because many of us are running out of time. And so that is the encouragement today, is that in this season, in this time, to strengthen your no muscles and say no to those things that are contrary to that which you've set your heart to do. Say no to those things that are contrary to those things that God has called you to do. Many of us are working on a second or third chance. And what's going to determine the value of that chance is your ability to say no. So again, that is the encouragement today and the admonishment that this season is going to require you to strengthen your no muscle. And I can promise you this, if you are able to do it, that success will belong to you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode with host, business coach Bo Powell and leadership coach Barry J. Elliott. Join us next week for another impactful conversation on The Lifeline.